I'm with Karin Kemper, who is the Senior Director for the Environment and Natural Resources Global Practice at the World Bank. And we've just finished the symposium, and we're going to talk a little bit about kind of maybe a wrap-up, which, Karin, you did at the very final plenary. You talked about two things, and one of the things that I would like to also record now is you were talking about the sense of urgency that we are facing in the world. I wondered if you could just kind of go over some of those dangers, some of those potential.
Yes, certainly, thank you. Yes, so one of my takeaways again today was that there is really a very strong sense of urgency that we need to have. We know that landscapes and forest and reforestation are linked to climate change, and therefore it is part of the climate change agenda. And we know that in the business as usual case, if we continue doing all the things that we are doing, then we might have 100 million people who will be pushed back into poverty by 2030. And 2030 is essentially tomorrow. Yes. So that is not very far away. Yeah. And we also know that about 140 people might have to leave their homes in South America, in South Asia, and in Africa if we continue with business as usual. So for me, there's an enormous sense of urgency that we need to do things. And as it relates to forests and landscapes, to link mitigation and adaptation. And it was the environment minister of El Salvador, yes, who made a statement that was that we need to have mitigation based on adaptation. And that, to me, is exactly what the landscape and restoration activities are about, because on the one hand, we adapt by keeping our natural assets, our natural capital intact. But on the other hand, we are creating mitigation by having forests, by having healthy soils, and so on. So that's, for me, that was a big takeaway.
Yes. I would also be curious if you could tell me a little bit about what the World Bank is doing, in a sense. Like what is the World Bank? What sort of portfolios do they have? What kind of money is the World Bank itself investing? I know it takes climate and reforestation very seriously. I wonder if you tell us a little bit about, this would be some of the areas that you are yourself personally looking into, or over, I should say, looking over.
Well, the World Bank has a commitment to undertake climate action. We have a climate change action plan that covers all sectors of where the bank invests. And so it covers both mitigation activities, be it in transport or be it in energy, and adaptation activities, be it in water or forests or agriculture and so on. And our commitment is to have at least 28% of our portfolio in climate investments by the year 2020. We will achieve that, and we think we may even go beyond it. And right now, in 2017, last year, we had a total investment in climate activities of about $12.8 billion. So it's a very large portfolio, and of course the forest and landscapes investments are part of that portfolio.
Okay, great. Well, thanks very much for sharing that with us, Karin. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's very interesting to hear about all that.